Any health-related information on the following show provides general information only. Content presented on any show by any host or guest should not be substituted for a doctor's advice. Always consult your physician before beginning any new diet, exercise, or treatment program.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to 5 to Thrive Live. I'm Carolyn Gazella, and I co-host this show with my good friend, Dr. Lise Alschuler. Our topic today is such an important one, and it's something that I'm very interested in, which is protecting and enhancing brain function. And I have the perfect expert joining me. Dr. Jacob Teitelbaum has been on the show before because he is truly a wealth of researched and reputable integrative health information. He is the author of 12 different books, and he is the lead author of 8 studies and 3 medical textbook chapters on effective treatment for fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. But before we begin, I'd like to thank our sponsors, beginning with Cetria, a patented form of glutathione, clinically proven to raise blood glutathione levels. Glutathione is the master antioxidant and the body's primary defense against free radicals. It also helps support respiratory health. For more information, visit cetriaglutathione.com. Also, cognizant acetylcholine, which is nature's way of keeping the brain's energy-producing centers firing on all cylinders. If you're looking for a way to enhance your brain function, including memory, focus, and attention, look for Cognizant on the label or go to cognizant.com for more information. ProThriver's Wellness Brain is a product that contains Cognizant as well as other brain-supporting nutrients and herbs. You can find ProThriver's Wellness Brain online at pureformulas.com. There's also ProThriver's Wellness Sleep, which combines higher dose melatonin and other sleep-supporting natural ingredients specifically designed for thrivers. You can find ProThriver's Wellness Sleep also at pureformulas.com. And Dr. Ohhira's Probiotics. It's a best-selling probiotic for more than 30 years. And it contains 12 probiotic strains that are shelf-stable, so no refrigeration is required because of a unique 3-year fermentation process. It's a very effective probiotic. Learn more at drohhiraprobiotics.com. Dr. Teitelbaum, thank you so much for joining me.
Carolyn, aloha to you and to everybody out there. And we're going to have an exciting day today. We're going to teach you how to keep your brain healthy, thriving, and optimized.
I know, I love it. So, new research indicates that there's a significant connection between insulin resistance and brain function, including dementia and Alzheimer's. But before we dig into the research regarding this important and interesting connection, can you just give us a simple explanation of what insulin resistance is?
So basically, we have furnaces in our cells called mitochondria. They burn glucose, other things for fuel, and that's what gives us energy. To open the door to the furnace so the fuel can get in for burning, the insulin is the key that unlocks the furnace. When you have too much sugar in your system, the key doesn't work. The insulin gets stuck. The body is resistant to it. You can't open the furnace, so the sugar is building up in your blood, but your cells are starving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how does someone even know if they have insulin resistance?
Well, some of the easiest things, first of all, if you have a high sweet tooth and you tend to high blood pressure, you tend to high cholesterol, you tend to diabetes, all of these things are weight gain around the abdomen. All of these are suggestive of metabolic syndrome, which is another way of saying insulin resistance. About 40% of adults have this, and that's growing. This is an epidemic in the United States. So basically, if you're overweight and sugar crave and a tendency to high blood pressure or even peeing a lot, it's time for you to suspect it and take simple measures to prevent and reverse it.
Yeah, and I like what we're going to talk about today. These are all great things that are going to help health on many levels. So I like your strategy. You often get like 2 furs or 3 furs for some of the strategies that you're recommending. They do multiple things in the body. But let's start with the research. So new research came out this year. So tell us about that research regarding this important connection.
The study was a large study, and it looked at insulin resistance in people with what's called mild cognitive dementia or impairment, early dementia, basically MCI. And what they did is they followed them over time, and they took a measure of insulin resistance. It was basically it's an equation that looks at triglycerides and fasting blood sugar. And they found with people that insulin resistant, they were 400%, which is
Wow.
massive, more likely to progress over time to dementia. So this is, again, I say this a lot. The vast majority of dementia is preventable. It's not hard. It doesn't take a $25,000 a year medicine. Just take some common sense. And here's one more approach that has a massive payoff in terms of overall health and cognitive health.
Yeah, and I have to be honest that I've been writing about this since 1992. I would have never connected insulin resistance with brain function and dementia and Alzheimer's. So I love this new research because, as you mentioned, this is something preventable. This is something that we can reverse. So it's become apparent that if we wanted to protect brain health, we also need to address insulin resistance. So let's start where you and I like to start with diet. What should we be doing from a dietary standpoint to either reduce the risk of insulin resistance or reverse it?
Well, Carolyn, it's interesting because if you look back 300-400 years ago, the medical anthropologists have shown that adult diabetes was extremely rare. You saw childhood diabetes like you do now, but this adult diabetes, which is affecting a third to 40% of the population, you didn't see it. It was really rare. And then as the Western diet came in, all of a sudden we see the epidemic. And it got traced back to one, cut down the sugar. We get 140 pounds of sugar per person dumped in our diet each year in food processing. Number two, increase the fiber, fruits, vegetables, things like that. It's okay to have fruit. Don't have fruit juice. An orange has 2 spoons of sugar and plenty of fiber. Enjoy it. 16 ounces of orange juice, that's like 8 oranges worth of sugar. That's insane. Just go with the fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fiber, and then go for walks in the sunshine. These simple things make a big difference. Not just will they keep uh, your diabetes away, they will keep your weight down.
So let's go back to the decreasing sugar because that is a problem that a lot of people have. What are the most egregious dietary sugars that people are ingesting that they can kind of start? Like, where should they begin when they're cutting back sugar?
Cut out the sweet drinks.
Hmm.
So again, it's funny when I talk to people and say cut out sugar, I see suddenly they go to the thing that gives them the most pleasure in their lives, and I say, keep that.
Yeah.
As living enjoyment is. Get rid of the sodas. And Zevia has a nice stevia sweeten. Again, there's a lot of issues with the artificial sweeteners, but the stevia so far seems to be coming out pretty well. So I use teas. I mean, I'll have a big cup of tea and a stevia sweetened that I have next to me. Um, Cut out fruit juices. So those simple things, you're going to get rid of a massive amount of the sugar. Number two, if you're going to go ahead, keep chocolate, but in moderation. Again, go for quality, not quantity, and savor it. So it's okay to have a sweet tooth, but not as your main dish.
Hmm. Yeah, then and the sweet drinks, man, that is a great place to start. So you mentioned walks in sunshine, and at least Dr. Alschuler and I talk about being out in nature and being physically active in nature. What are some other lifestyle factors that we can change to help us prevent or reverse insulin resistance?
Well, the main thing is keeping weight down and increasing exercise. Next, you can cut down stress. Now, again, when we were kids, the media mantra, if you wanted to sell something on TV back when they had TV networks, um, you had handsome guys and good-looking gals, and you had them next to the beer or the car you were selling, and that was a big push. It was sex sells was the media mantra. Nowadays, the media mantra is fear and divisiveness sells.
Mm.
There's no longer a middle path in there. Much, if not most, of what we see on the media, if it is scaring you to death or making you hate half the population, turn it off. It
Mhm.
is one, is nonsense. I don't care which side of the aisle you're looking at. Both sides are now making things up. And two, it's not healthy. It raises cortisol levels from the stress, which can trigger insulin resistance.
Yes, I do media cleanses, and I'm in one now. And yeah, so I also want to talk about sleep because I've read over the years interesting research showing that even just one night of sleep deprivation, 6 hours or less, can increase insulin resistance. So tell me about sleep. What's going on with sleep and insulin resistance?
So what you're seeing with sleep is a number of things. One, deep sleep is when you make growth hormone. It's also when you make leptin, which suppresses appetite. All of these things tend to help insulin sensitivity. They help you stay young and healthy. They help muscle grow and decrease fat. They decrease appetite healthfully. So sleep is critical. Also, a recent study is looking at sleep, and low sleep is associated with increased risk of dementia, and they traced
Mm.
it to poor sleep triggering inflammation, which will then trigger insulin resistance. All of these things tie together in health.
Absolutely, and also lack of sleep encourages and enhances obesity. You become overweight when you're not sleeping as well.
Yes, you get an average 6.5 pound weight gain, and 30% increased risk of obesity in people who are not getting optimal sleep. And the average night's sleep in the United States until light bulbs were invented 100 years ago, just for perspective, was 9 hours a night.
Yeah, I want to talk about dietary supplements, and I actually want to start with sleep. What is your view? I'm not sure that you and I have had this conversation about your view of dietary supplement interventions for sleep. Things like melatonin or valerian or lavender, or I mean, do you use those? Do you recommend those to your patients?
Day in and day out.
Hmm.
So again, most people can get the sleep they need. One, cut out the things you don't enjoy, like turning off media and social media, and just turn that off. Use the time for sleep. Melatonin. Melatonin not only helps sleep, but it also improves insulin sensitivity.
Mm.
It will decrease the glycosylated hemoglobin, the main diabetes test, by 0.4%, which is a lot. Um, I will use a mix called the Revitalizing Sleep Formula, which is a mix of 6 herbs: the passion flower, lemon balm, valerian, 5-HTP, theanine. So this is one of my favorites. I'll go ahead and use that. I have a cup of chamomile tea, but again, you want the whole tea. You don't want this tea dust in a tea bag. You want the loose tea, and a cup of chamomile tea at bedtime makes a nice big difference. So there's so many, and then put a lavender in your bedroom, a drop of lavender oil on your upper lip, right under your nose. So many ways to optimize sleep.
Yeah, and you just gave an example of recommending something, a dietary supplement that has dual advantages. Melatonin will help with sleep, but it also helps with insulin sensitivity. So let's talk a little bit about insulin resistance and supplements. Are there
Mhm.
supplements that can directly, indirectly, or however you'd like, help with insulin resistance, either reverse it or prevent it?
Absolutely. If I have somebody with diabetes or even metabolic syndrome, I have a nice simple threesome that I give, and actually four things. It will reverse diabetes in a large percent of the population. If you look at the usual test called glycosylated hemoglobin, normal is 5.5. Over 6 is considered insulin resistance. 7 or less is well-controlled diabetes. 8.8 is poorly controlled. So I can decrease that. The studies show you can decrease it by 2.4%, which is enough to take you from poorly controlled diabetes to non-diabetic by taking three simple things. One is an herb called Hintonia latiflora. It's available as Sucantral D in the United States.
Can you spell
Um,
that? Can you spell that for me, Dr. Teitelbaum?
Sucontral, and then capital D. It's available from Europharma or Euromedica,
Got it.
both. The second is berberine. So the studies show now it takes a year to see the full effect of these. You'll see a 0.9% decrease on average after 1 year with the Sucantral D. And then the berberine has a similar effect, either 500 milligrams 3 times a day, or if you use a high absorption one, 250 milligrams twice a day. But again, you'll see effects start at 3 months, but they increase dramatically over 1 year. And then melatonin. I like to use a sustained release melatonin like EP120. I like the 10 milligram, but many melatonins, there's many very good ones out there. Um, those three together will decrease after 1 year glycosylated hemoglobin 2.4%. Meanwhile, the metformin is not a bad medication. A lot of people like to slam it. The main problem is it will cause vitamin B12 deficiency, often with normal blood tests. You have to be on a good multivitamin. I like one called the Energy Revitalization Drink Mix. It's a simple powder, one drink a day. Uh, really protects the body and the mind and all kinds of things in diabetes or dementia. Essentials is a nice tablet for those who want tablet forms. But the B12, and we could do a whole show about B12 deficiency with normal blood levels. It's just a major problem, and you need a multi with at least 100 micrograms of B12, especially if you're taking metformin, which will cause B12 deficiency otherwise.
So let's go back to melatonin. Did I hear you correctly? Did you say 10 milligrams?
10 milligrams. It's funny. You know me, Carolyn. Back when it first came out, I was telling people take 0.3 of a milligram of melatonin.
Right.
That's all the body usually makes. That's all it takes to bring it up to the mid range of normal. We have no idea what higher doses are going to do. We have no idea if there's a self-monitoring system where the body suppresses its own. But over the last 30, 40 years, the research has shown we're not seeing these issues. And you get, in addition to the sleep benefits, there's antioxidants, there's, I think, immune benefiting that help with many things. But also it's been shown to decrease glycosylated hemoglobin 0.4%, with the use. So I'm personally, I take the EP120 10 milligram melatonin, but whether one wants to take the 0.3 of a milligram, 10 milligram, anywhere in between, again, I like the sustained release. It also decreases nighttime acid reflux. I mean, there's so many good things that
Hmm.
it does that you will find that over the last 30 years, my dosing recommendations for melatonin have changed dramatically.
Well, it's interesting because our sponsor, Pro Thrivers Wellness Sleep, that was specifically designed for thrivers,
Mhm.
has the high dose melatonin because, as you mentioned, it has anti cancer effects.
Mhm.
So, yeah, melatonin is
Mhm.
a powerful, powerful substance. Okay, so I want to switch gears, but before I switch gears, are there any other supplements that you want to mention specifically for insulin resistance?
These are enough. Again, cut out the sugar drinks. Um, get your sleep. Use the things we talked about, and the herbals we talked about. Take the multivitamin because again, vitamin D, many other nutrients are critical in diabetes and stress. So the energy revitalization drink mix. You've got a simple thing. It's not a lot of pills. You take it morning and night. You're done, and
Mhm.
it will get this taken care of for most people. Um, and then again, I know I'm repeating myself, Carolyn, but cut out the things that give you the least pleasure first, that
Mhm.
have the high sugar. The things that give you the most pleasure, to make your eyes roll and make it look like you're having an orgasm at dinner, keep those.
Yeah, good, good point. Um, well, I learned something new from you, and I always do, and it's this connection between chronic pain, like diabetic neuropathy, and its impact on dementia. And it's interesting because I just finished an article on neuropathy, which is a horribly painful condition. It can not only be diabetes related, but I also included information on chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, which Dr. Alschuler just did an entire show on that
Mhm.
topic. So this surprised me again, Dr. Teitelbaum. Tell us what's the connection between chronic pain, such as diabetic neuropathy or chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, and the connection between dementia.
So here's the thing, multiple studies are showing that this is a powerful connection, that if you have more than 3 sites of chronic pain, your risk of dementia goes up 36%. This is
Wow.
massive. And there's a lot of different mechanisms that are proposed. I suspect that number one, it impacts sleep. Poor sleep increases inflammation, increases dementia risk, increases insulin resistance risk. Also, it triggers microglial activation. And also, it just hurts. I mean, you don't, pain is so incredibly treatable unless you go to the doctor in this country. Doctors get no training virtually in pain management. Give them Tylenol, Motrin, slash for cash if there's something you can operate on. And you know what most of my pain management education was in med school? Is don't let them fool you into giving you a narcotic.
Hmm.
You know how drug addicts prick their finger and put a drop
Yeah.
of blood in the urine to mimic a kidney stone. But I don't talk more about that than how to get rid of pain. Almost all pain can be effectively treated. Um, you give lipoic acid, you give acetyl L-carnitine. So whether you look at the chemo pain or diabetes pain, both of those help. They give the PEA, and I'll use one called PEA Healthy Inflammation Response. Over 200 studies um, with that. And PEA regenerates brain cells as well as getting rid of pain and microglial activation. People who like, for those who would like, because I know I talk quickly, if it's okay, I'll give out my email address. I'm happy to send free information sheets on preventing dementia, on treating diabetes, on addressing chronic neuropathy, or using PEA for pain. And if those who would like, my email address is fatigue, that's FATIGUE, DOC at gmail.com. And you can
Perfect.
ask for the pain, neuropathy, diabetes, or Alzheimer prevention, or all of the above information sheets.
Yeah, I highly recommend our listeners reach out. Great information. And it is interesting. So, when I was writing this article on neuropathy, I was actually quite shocked that conventional medicine has very little to offer. And you mentioned NSAIDs, and they don't work with neuropathic pain. So then that there's an escalation, and all of a sudden they are prescribing like high dose opioids or anticonvulsive meds or antidepressant meds because there's so much depression with chronic pain. So it is something really interesting. Now, I want to go back to this 30% increase. When you said pain, did you say something about 3 points of pain? So do you have to have three different types of pain, or what, or did I miss that?
Even one area of pain is
Okay.
associated with increased risk, but the more different areas of pain that you get, the higher the dementia risk. So using three as one level, that was associated with a 36% increased risk of dementia. Now, you notice we throw out little numbers here like 36% increased risk with this very preventable thing, 400% increased risk with this common preventable thing. Most dementia is preventable. But the doctors, I still boggles my mind. I remember a recent presidential debate, and they're talking about should Medicare cover this new like $25,000 a year drug for dementia that probably does like 5% effect and
Mm-hmm.
ignores its folic acid,
Mm-hmm.
B12, all these natural things, the things we talked about today, are way, 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 way more effective with side benefits instead of side effects,
Yeah.
but we don't hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, even I learned that saffron, not only
Mhm,
with chemotherapy-induced neuropathy, but also diabetic neuropathy, the studies are phenomenal. It's a
mhm.
great natural product, and I also do want to give Dr. Alschuler's show a little plug. So if you go to ithriveplan.com and you just scroll down, you'll see that show. So if you have somebody that's struggling with neuropathy, because it is a very hard to treat painful condition, go to ithriveplan.com and look for Dr. Alschuler's show. So, when it comes to chronic pain, what is your final advice? Because that is a tough one. What's your final advice if somebody is listening and they're struggling with chronic pain?
Pain can be effectively treated. Your doctor just is not taught how. There's four key domains of pain management, and most people have several of these active at once. They're not hard to treat. Number one is low energies, causes your muscles to get locked in a shortened position. Take a good vitamin powder like the Energy Revitalization Drink Mix. That will give your body a lot of energy. The muscles will relax. Two, treat inflammation, curcumin, boswellia, all kinds of things like that. I use something called Curamin. Very simple thing. Give it 3 months, 6 weeks for the Curamin. It's a pain relief miracle. It will balance inflammation. Get your sleep and stuff that's in there too. Number three, if your pain is chronic, you do have brain inflammation called microglial activation. the PEA. We talked about the PEA information sheet, palmitoyl, ethanol, blah, blah, blah. Over 200 studies, especially including neuropathy, dramatic decrease in pain after 3 months of use. And number 4, if neuropathy is present, again, there's a chapter from my old book, Pain Free 123. You email me at fatiguedoc@gmail.com. I'll send you the chapter. It'll go through dozens of nutrients and standard medications, but these are usually low cost, so nobody talks about them, and give you a protocol going, start here and just work your way down till the pain is gone, because neuropathy pain is more challenging, but it's really, 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 really treatable.
Yeah.
And again, I use the best of natural and prescription. I'm not against prescription medications. I'm just against the insane way they're used based on profit rather than science.
Right. Yeah. So that's fatiguedoc@gmail.com. What is your website? I'd like to have people know where they can find out more information about you.
So the supplements I talk about are available most everywhere, any health food store, Amazon. You can find them. My website is that's E-N like Nancy, D like David, fatigue.com. My website for information is vitality101.com. What I'd recommend is my book, From Fatigued to Fantastic, shameless plug. It will go through each kind of pain and how to make it go away.
Yeah, it's a bestseller. I highly recommend it as well. Well, Dr. Teitelbaum, this has been very informative. Thank you so much again for joining me.
Always a pleasure.
All right, well, that wraps up this episode of 5 to Thrive Live. Once again, I'd like to thank our sponsors, ProThriver's Wellness Sleep Formula, Cetria Glutathione, the superior glutathione and support liver and immune health, Cognizant Citicoline to help enhance memory, focus, and attention, Dr. Ohhira's award-winning shelf-stable probiotic, and once again, thanks for listening, and remember, you can find past shows, including that one that I mentioned from Dr. Alschuler and her guest, at ithriveplan.com. That's ithriveplan.com. Thanks for listening. May you experience joy, laughter, and love. It's time to thrive, everyone. Have a great night.